For those people watching this video, this is a series to survive and thrive through. Hello! Welcome, Jana Stern, to our video. I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks, I'm so excited.
Life, and today we have on Jana Stern, healer and reader extraordinaire from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Thank you so much, Jana, for being here. You are an amazing healer. You have an extraordinary wealth on crystals, and in this time, people are asking a lot of questions about this video. They want to know about the crystals, so please take it away. I will jump in with my own questions, but you're the main event.
Thank you. There's a lot to know about crystals, and I love to talk about it. It really is my favorite subject to discuss, not only because I'm like heartily obsessed with them, but because there's just so much to know. There's such beauty in crystals and so much to learn from them, that especially at this time in the world where things are so chaotic and upside down, it's nice to have something that's as consistent as a crystal, something that's never changing. Crystals are so consistent.
So true.
Yeah.
So in the mystery school tradition, crystals are thought of as actual physical representations of the creator's thoughts. And so every crystal has its own harmonic vibration and ability to heal and to balance and to neutralize us. So I know you have a whole great list of topics for us today. So let's get started. Talk to us about what crystals we need. How do we use crystals? How do we clean them, charge them?
All the good stuff.
Yeah.
So, crystals are they really are. They're so magical, and it's not surprising to me that the mystery school talks about them in this way, because that's really how I feel about them. And as you can see, like, I get really childish about how much I love them, partially because I've connected to them since I was a child myself. My grandfather was a major collector. He had an oil rig company, and so they would dig up all these different ones, and I just connected to them in such a way that I was always doing science projects, always just, curious and picking up stuff off the earth from wherever the hell I landed. Wherever, if we were on vacation or if we were just even up at the cottage, I was always like, what's this? What's that? Getting my hands dirty with them and really connecting in. So I do have a deep, deep love for them. And, they have a frequency that after my life activation started to identify, I could really tune into them. I really could hear crystals. Now that I've learned how to tune into them in such a powerful way, they sing me songs, they tell me stories, they get really bossy. Crystals are super bossy. Move me here, do this, I need that. They're just very demanding. But they are incredible. And, I often say, if you spent that many years cooking in the earth and suffering all the pressure, that you would be just as beautiful as they are. And there are so many different kinds and types and varieties, and each and every one of them, from the teeniest, tiniest little chip to like the biggest chunk that bigger than your body, they all make these huge, huge, huge impacts on us. Because the frequency of them doesn't care about size. Size literally doesn't matter with crystals, and it's kind of magical. Yeah. So, there's a lot of different ways to connect in with them. One of those ways is through, physical contact with them. And so that might be, having them in a pocket, or having them in a bra or a sock, or, something like that. But it could also just be having them around your home. It could be, there are lots of people who can actually call upon energies of certain crystals just literally by thinking about them, because frequency is frequency, right? So, but there are ways that we connect in with crystals that we are not even aware of. One of them being this device. We have clear quartz is one of those incredible crystals. It's the base mineral of our planet, meaning it is the most abundant mineral that we have of all of the minerals. And there are a plethora of different crystals that sort of fall under the quartz umbrella: amethyst, citrine, rose quartz, et cetera, smoky, Tibetan, et cetera. I can go on for a lot longer. I'm not going to. But each of those, quartz, like little magic pieces, we have learned, science has learned, that in using those frequencies, we can actually create all kinds of different communications. So that's how we got radios. That's how we got televisions. We put quartz in our phones, in our computers. Like, there's quartz just everywhere. So, it fuels all of our devices, because when you can learn how to harness that frequency and use it to our human advantage, we can create all kinds of incredible communications and all kinds of incredible technologies to enhance that, right? And it's not surprising that we as a species have used it for communication, to deliver messages to each other, over space and time. Because one of the main things that we're learning right now in this quarantine and in this isolation is that nothing matters more than communication, right? So
100%.
thank God for clear quartz, right?
Thank God for clear quartz, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there are lots of things that we can use crystals for. I always say, like, if there's a problem, there's a crystal for it.
Yeah.
So whether it's trying to get your plants to grow faster, or trying to communicate with more love, or perhaps with more power, might be looking for more protection from outside sources, or perhaps just, wanting to have fewer electromagnetic frequencies kind of hit you, especially if you're very sensitive to those types of things. There are stones for creativity and heart opening, and stones for helping you to connect in with higher frequencies, also for lower frequencies if you're looking for grounding. So there's lots and lots and lots of different things that crystals help us to navigate through here in the physical.
Because when you and I were talking before, we kind of landed on things that we need right now are both grounding, but also connection to a higher source.
Yes.
Because we're desperately looking for inward answers to emotions that are coming up that we can't escape by being busy. And then also a little bit of anxiety and heart healing, and also creativity. Because, I think people are getting really sick and tired of being at home. They've watched so much Netflix. They've, they've exhausted.
Maybe they've even read a book.
Maybe they read a book. Maybe they did their puzzles, and they're like, I need something different. I need to start something, right? So
yeah.
Tell us some crystals for grounding, connection, the heart, creativity.
Sure. Yeah. So in terms of grounding, you want to stick with all of the like really dark stones, and then red. So we're talking red jasper, carnelian, but really that red, rich carnelian. Any of the black tourmaline in that family. So then also onyx, but black onyx, obsidian, things of that nature. Any of those are going to both help to ground and to protect, because when we're fully grounded, we are more able to protect ourselves. It's sort of that analogy of if you're standing versus if you're crouching, you can't be shoved over as quickly if you're crouched.
Yeah.
We want that same grounded, protective energy of like, can't mess with me down here. I'm good. So those are really good for that. Also, and in terms of grounding, anything that has that sort of earthy look to it. So jasper, picture jasper, petrified wood, all that kind of stuff. That's really going to help to keep us really just like present. Anything that feels like earth, right?
Yeah.
Is something that we really want to dial into. In terms of connecting in with our higher selves, we want selenite, we want amethyst. We were talking earlier and I was saying lepidolite is a really, really, really nice stone, particularly if you have any kind of like racing thoughts, psychotic episodes, any kind of depression, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. Lepidolite really is, I think, the best stone for mental health. And, the more that you can be in contact with it, the better. But, in terms of reaching that higher self, we want also clear quartz. We definitely want to be, I mean, amethyst for sure, for sure, for sure. Iolite is really good for that. Even thulite is really nice for helping to open up your third eye and connect in with what it is that you want to see for the future.
Cool.
And then in terms of creating, because we do want to create a better world. Nobody wants to go back to the old norm of
No.
things that weren't working, right? There were so many different systems that were broken. We don't even need to go into them. Let's create something better.
Yes.
So we're talking sacral, right? That's where our creative energy lives. So that's citrine, it's tangerine quartz, it's orange carnelian, it's any of those sort of orangey colors, that amber, and then excuse me, bloodstone, because bloodstone is a stone where blood goes.
Very cool. Now, Mystery School also talks that the creativity is linked also to our solar plexus. So what stones can we use for our solar plexus?
Yep. Tiger's eye for sure. Mookaite jasper is a really, really, really nice one for that. And mookaite is like one of those incredibly mystical stones in the sense that it's really, really nice to connect in with that. And then apatite, especially Ontario apatite. I love apatite. The like kind of almost green but yellow apatite, just so yummy. And then anything that's going to be that really yellowy color is going to help us with that one too. But tiger's eye for sure, protective, but also really, really like go get it. Yeah.
Now, when I first started working with crystals, I just went to what was pretty. I was like, this is what I'm drawn to. And the first crystal I ever bought was a rose quartz. I traveled with it all over the world.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Little unicorn. Yeah, well, I always say like the wand chooses the wizard. And so, as a wizard of love, it's no surprise to me that rose quartz is the first one that you were drawn to, because you are such a little radiant little love giver and somebody who spreads love everywhere she goes. So that's not surprising at all.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So a new crystal user, or I don't know. I think a lot of people analyze themselves too much, that they should be using crystals right,
No such thing.
Right. So how can we feel confident that like using crystals is working? How can we do it?
So I would just say, like, if your crystals are sitting sort of dead in a bowl and they haven't moved in a long time, and they're, you don't really know where they are, and they're tucked in a drawer in a bag into something, you're probably not like using them right. But otherwise, if they're in movement, if they're in motion, you're doing it right. It's just about connecting with the frequency. And even if you have 0, or if you have 1, or if you've never, bought a crystal before, it really is just about connecting in with like what feels right to you. And I know that it's difficult now because we can't go into a crystal store right now, but I know that there are tons of websites and crystal stores that are doing deliveries, and that are doing mail deliveries and stuff like that. So feel into what looks good to you, and it never ceases to amaze me that what looks good to you, what you're drawn to, is exactly the thing that you need every time.
I love that.
Yeah. Me too. Magical.
and also we were talking that the crystals, they all elements of they help absorb our energy.
Totally.
Water is such a powerful element to just release your negative. I like doing that exercise a lot, where I just put my hands over a bowl of water. I just let my feelings go and then dump the water out. And so crystals, they need to be clean too.
Definitely.
So how do we, what's your favorite way to clean the crystals?
I mean, I love a good bath with crystals. Not all crystals like water though. But I do love a good bath, or even to drink, even just a crystal, like a bath for the crystals, like a bowl of water for them. I love that. But they love all kinds of different elements. So they love salt. They love water, some of them. Some love the sun, others really, really, really don't. You have to be careful about blanching them. You can literally, like, the sun can cook the color right out of them, because if you think about it, they've been in the earth for so long. When we expose them to an element that they never were exposed to, it will literally overexpose them, right? So you have to be careful. But they really almost every crystal loves the moon. The moon is a really great time. And if the moon is full, like it is right now, then you can definitely soak up those good vibes.
So
And,
tell us
you
which
know,
ones can't go in water.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, tell us which ones can't go in water and what ones do we want to put in the sunlight?
So we don't want to put anybody that kind of falls into the quartz family. So rose quartz, amethyst, citrine. That's really just gonna like overexpose them in the sun. You don't want that at all. And then anything that has an ite doesn't like water. So angelite, selenite, amazonite, howlite, all of those kinds of stones, they're very, 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 very sensitive. And so some are better than others, and some can take a quick dip. Like howlite can take a dip in the water. It can't stay in the water. Selenite, don't even dare, because then all of a sudden you've got gypsum, and then you need to make a cast for your arm, and it's too much, and you don't want to go that route. So, it's good to do your research in all of that. So if you buy a crystal, it's good to know kind of like how sensitive are they? Just like anything else, right? You wouldn't buy a plant that needs a lot of sunlight and leave it in a dark room, right? It's the same type of thing. You just kind of gotta know what you're into. And then of course there's like sage, Palo Santo. That's a great way to cleanse them. They love that. Some of my crystals, when I sage them, they literally giggle. It's just like tickles for them. They love it. Cause it recharges them. I mean, they've sat in the earth for so long, and we so selfishly as humans, because we are so selfish, have dug them up and claimed them as our own, put them in our home, and done absolutely, in many cases, nothing to recharge them. So, giving them something back helps them to give us more. It's the same as when you put them in water, right? Like the vibe just gets higher for them. And so they bring you more good vibes. And so you get more high, and then they get more high. And then it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up, instead of like down and down and down, which is really where the vibe has been of late. So we're trying to combat that by like giving our crystals the love that we also need to give ourselves.
I love that. It's the relationship building. I think it's, this is what a higher state of awareness is. Or, if you have plants, can you sense when they're thirsty? You know when they're dusty? Do you have, are you filling your house with these things, or are you building a relationship with them? And there's no judgment. So it takes a long time to learn how to do these things.
Yes. And every plant is different, and every crystal is different.
Totally. Absolutely. So is there any other crystal wisdom that you want to impart on us today?
Yeah, just be really mindful with them, be intentional with them, whether or not you start to form grids in your home, whether they're like sort of basic grids that you lay down, or very, very complicated grids like you and I do, in Sacred Geo, all of that kind of stuff. However it is that you're placing your crystals around your home and in your life, be intentional with it, right? And the more intentional you are with your crystals, the more intentional you can be with the rest of your life. It's like anything else, right? It all just magnifies. If you're intentional with your crystals, you can be intentional in your conversations, and intentional in your relationships, and intentional with your relationship to yourself, and so on and so forth.
That's such good information. Would you mind if I talked a bit about sacred geometry stuff?
Please do. I would love that.
Okay. So my knowledge of sacred geometry has come from my training with the Mystery School, as you know. Mm-hmm. And so the Mystery School lineage tells us that sacred geometry was an art formed in heaven before humans came to earth. Mm. And so sacred geometry is a way that we connect with our spirit. Mm-hmm. Now, there are shapes that are either going to be uplifting or that can actually cause chaos. And every different shape represents a different frequency. Now, crystals, like I said earlier, they are the most consistent, accurate forms of sacred geometry that you will find in nature. So each and every one has a different harmony to it. And even just having it anywhere near you, it is going to harmonize frequencies in your own body. Now, the thing is, earlier, I've done lots of interviews with very anatomical, very smart therapists and psychotherapists, and they've given us a great biomechanical understanding of stress. But this is spirit hour. And so, when we are having negative thoughts, and no one's immune to it. No one can say they haven't even had one negative thought about this, whether it's financial stress, job stress, family stress, health stress.
Mm-hmm.
When we're putting those vibrations out into our frequency, it's causing chaos. And then it's causing energetic chaos all over around us.
Mm-hmm.
And true health is balance and harmony. So homeostasis in the body, and the same goes with the energy body. We need to be in balance. And crystals are so powerful to bring us into harmony.
Yes.
And it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. So we can use crystals to calm our mind down so that we have more positive thoughts. And, if we have more positive thoughts, then we're just creating this harmonic frequency everywhere around. And it just is this loop, this like feedback loop of goodness.
Yep.
And so the more that you can surround yourself with things that are sacred geometry in nature, the better that it's going to be for you to have just have a clear mind and to be in that empowered state.
Yeah. I'm curious. What are the shapes that create chaos?
Oh, well, I want to create a down vibe.
No, I just give me one shape that I should be avoiding. Should I be like,
okay,
no hexagons from now on? Is that what it is?
Avoid all six. No. As a Jewish person, all 6-pointed things are important for you. So, things that are going to cause chaos. If we look at the symbol like a pentagram, so a star, a 5-pointed star, an upward pentagram is going to create a lot of harmony. And in fact, like the number 5, there's so much power in the number 5.
Sure.
But when it's inverted, where the point of the pentagram is pointing downwards, this is going to cause a lot of negative symbols. Oh, and I'm going to burst a lot of bubbles for you guys out there. But the peace sign. So the line down. No. And the 2 and the circle.
Yeah. Yes. It's upside down, right?
It's upside down. And it was a very spiritual man who knew a lot of things, but he just wanted to mess with people. And so he literally created upside down, knowing that it was actually going to cause chaos. And so when we use the peace symbol, it is even, because like upwards, it's a very powerful ruin that creates a lot of good positive energy. But upside down, like we have it in the peace sign, like on t-shirts or things that you can see.
In the 60s hippie movement.
I know. It's going to cause negative energy, actually. So
I mean, they had a lot of negative energy in the 60s. Things were bad. I don't know if I wasn't there, but the people who were there talk about the wars a lot.
Yeah. So just be mindful of these symbols. So sacred geometry really is, if I may, I think that when we are in the busyness of life, so we're talking about Malkuth, the bottom of the tree of life, busyness, the physical world, so much, because a lot of people work a 9-to-5 and are kind of being told how to live their lives. So much, if you don't like your boss, you don't like going into work, you can't really show up every day like that. You're going to get fired. And so eventually you have to create a personality to just deal, to just handle the day, right?
Yep.
And now
that would be one of those broken systems I was talking about earlier.
It really would, And let's say you meet a coworker when you're in your personality, or God forbid you meet a partner in your personality, and you're attracting people that is not the real you. The personality is not the real you. And so right now, we are kind of in the control of our own days for a lot of people. I mean, God bless all the people that are going to work and, keeping everyone safe. But
major prayers for them.
For the most of us, we're just at home. And you are forced to deal with yourself. You don't have to put on a show. There is no busyness to distract you.
No.
And your mind is going to wander, and it's going to start to reveal to you things that you have hidden and locked away for a really long time.
Oh, yeah.
And any tool that we can connect, you know, you were just so bang on, Jana. Anything that we can connect to our spirit right now, that's like, we can use, people can call it woo woo, people can call it hokey. Like, I don't give a flying.
Please judge me. It makes me feel better because then I'm like, it gives me validation.
But like the spirit is your true, genuine self. It's who you were when you were 3 years old and you were dancing unabashedly, you know, in your
Talking to crystals, as it were.
Yes, like my favorite thing. I came home with pocket full of rocks every day.
Of course you did.
Like I just had like sticks and rocks and, you know, and so you know, thank you so much for your message. You know, crystals are such a great way to open up our energy and to find harmony. So if people loved you, how can they reach you? How can they contact you? Where can they ask you questions?
Yeah, janastern.com is probably the fastest way to get me. You can send me a message through there, or through Instagram and Facebook. It's Jana Stern Healer, Jana Stern, like as if I was being mean to you, healer. And so, yeah, I tend to be mindful about ingesting too much media, social media, things of those natures, because I'm aware that I am very highly, highly sensitive, and I would rather be with crystals than sometimes with the energies of humans. However, I do my best to get back as quickly as I can, and I'm happy to answer questions and to dive a little bit deeper. And if you have, you know, more questions on crystals or, you know, things that you want to get into that are other things, I'm happy to do that anytime.
You're great for support for people. You're such a great listener. You offer such good advice. You're always there for me. So I'm so glad to have you on. If you know, this is my first video, my first interview.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for you.
I'm so excited. Thank you for being on.
I'm so honored. Thank you, Sarah.
Very annoyed with Instagram and all the cutting outs of the lives, and so I wanted
yet another system that's broken.
Jana has opinions.
No, not me. Mm-mm.
And so, you know, if you want to subscribe, that's super cool. And I'm going to be doing these interviews really regularly and providing lots of experts, and so that we can all help each other. This is actually my dream. Like when TED Talks first came out, I thought it was so brilliant, you know, and not that I in any way want to be TED Talks, because, you know, they are amazing, but I would love to take one simple topic and then get a whole bunch of different people talking about one topic from a different perspective.
Cool.
Because then I think that, because looking at healing from a biomechanical standpoint, looking at healing from a money standpoint, like Jessica's going to be on tomorrow, I'm just really excited about this. So subscribe, like, do those things. Thank you, Jana.
Thank you, Sarah.
And I hope that you'll come on again soon.
Anytime, girl. I love you.
Okay, look at you. Bye.